Hello, welcome. So, we're gonna be doing the horoscope for each of the different sun signs. And to skip ahead to your section, feel free to go to the about section of this video, and you'll be able to just go right to your place. Let us begin. Aries. Okay, so looking at the different transits for this next month, I think the biggest thing is with Mars and Libra being opposite your Sun in Aries. If you have any other placements of Aries, it's good to know that, because knowing that can really augment how you handle this next month, especially if you have Venus in the Aries or Mercury in Aries or whatnot. But in any case, Mars in Libra is opposite your Aries energy. So even if it's just your sun sign, that's a lot. And if you know or want to know more, you can always go to an astrologer and figure out, okay, what does this next month mean? Because this is a big time for you. It's a very a big culmination of the last year, when Mars was directly conjunct your Sun in Aries, and a good time now to focus on the culmination of what you sought to do, what you were inspired to do over this past year, and especially about a year ago when that seed was planted, when Mars was directly conjunct your Sun. I think the other thing, the biggest other stuff to focus on is, oh, that's really cool, we'll get to that, is we're in the other Mars energy. So Scorpio rules Mars along with Aries, and so they're very much linked. And this is a good opportunity to connect with your deeper powers, to connect with Aries energy is Mars energy that's a little bit more obvious. Scorpio is Mars energy that's a little bit more subtle, and there's pros and cons to each. Sometimes you need to be a little bit more obvious, a little bit more focused, and just, okay, this is what I'm going for. Okay, I got it. Whereas Scorpio can be a little bit more like, oh, I don't know if I should go for it yet. But on the other hand, again, especially for November, the key, or at least the first until November 22nd, when Sun goes into Sagittarius. I'll get to that in a second, because that's gonna be really fun. But until then, focusing on all this Scorpio energy, especially for the first week or so, because actually we have Mercury retrograde, so Mercury will be in Scorpio. Okay, so pretty much the entirety of this month, and in many ways, also because Mars goes into Scorpio later this month. The focus is on connecting with your deeper power, connecting with the side of your patience, which is a side is not necessarily the most well developed. Aries energy likes to do things right now, and again, there's a lot of pros to that. But during this time, it's going to be important to make sure you don't. Part of power is making sure you're mastering your power, you're guiding your power, not necessarily controlling, but making sure, I'm angry right now. Okay, I don't want to just break shit. I need to make sure, and I don't want to just say things that hurt people. I want to make sure that where I'm coming from is still, I'm letting people know that I'm angry, and I'm handling my anger effectively by saying just what's needed, just enough, and not just flying off the handle, especially since Mercury will be retrograde from Halloween, yay, until November 20th. And of course, we'll be experiencing the Mercury retrograde shadow after that. For the rest of this month, and probably the first even week or so of December. But in any case, most of this month, even when Sun does move into Sagittarius, we'll get to that in a second, because there's a lot of really cool stuff with that, is going to be a challenge of making sure that you're working cooperatively with others, and also cooperating with yourself. It's all about balance. This isn't a time where you want to give, any time isn't a time when you want to give all of your power away, nor claim all the power. How do I say this? You want to work effectively with others. And how do we do that? We make sure that we're taking care of our needs, and also seeking to be in tune and in harmony with others' needs. This is a time of realizing when other people are on the same page, and you can work with them and cooperate with them, and then also realizing when people aren't on the same page, and when it's time to just let it go and move forward and find a new partnership. It's going to be important. And again, one of the biggest things is making sure that you don't say things out of anger or impatience or frustration or anything like that you later come to regret. So it's good to chill. It's good to reflect a lot during this time. It's good to work out a lot. There's a lot of Mars energy in the air. You have a lot of Mars energy. It's good to work out in general, but this is a wonderful time to be able to just vent all of that anger, and not necessarily even anger, just that energy, which can go into anger if you don't vent it. So that's one thing to keep in mind. When the Sun goes into Sagittarius, and also Venus goes into Sagittarius, actually November 1st, both of these transits, so Sun goes into Sag November 22nd, both of these energies are all about, yes, fire, fun, enjoyment. They'll be empowering you. And Yeah. All right. Your tarot card, that's funny, is an Aries card, completion. So again, you're completing the culmination of this last year, um, learning how to work with others, learning how to not, rather, learning how to free yourself from certain people. And interesting, mouse is your animal medicine totem, and what that means is, I think, staying humble. Um, Mice are also. This is coming more from a bit of a. I can't really logically piece it together, but it's mice are very. What came to me is hardworking, is I think recognizing. Okay, that's cool. Recognizing when it's time to fight or flight. When it's time. I have a kind of funny video that's come to mind of a mouse with a cat, and the mouse is like jumping up in the air and scaring the shit out of the cat. And I think what this means is stay humble, stay focused on, stay just in your lane, stay focused, and know that there's incredible power in being humble. All right, Taurus. Taurus. This is your full sun time period. For every sun energy, um, when the sun is opposite our natal sun, it's like the full moon, where you have a major opposition occurring. And so for this next month, for you, this is a great time to take stock of how much you've grown in the last 6 months, excuse me, and how much you have yet to grow over the next 6 months. This month can be very intense. November is a major month for you of changes potentially, or just even getting deeper entrenched in your goals and making sure good things happen. I think a huge thing to keep in mind for you is Uranus is in Taurus, opposite all this Scorpio energy. It's conjunct your sun, and maybe not directly, maybe if you're later degrees Taurus, for example, but it's still in the same region of space known as Taurus, which is where your sun is, so this is going to impact you a lot. So what does this mean? It means that this month it can be I think a lot of Taurians are going to be experiencing one end of the spectrum or another, and it's probably going to be pretty drastic. If you're finding yourself somewhere in the middle, that's cool too, but again, it's good to try and find stability. We'll get back to that. Basically, the two different ends of the spectrum is going to be either things are really stable and really together, or they're really unstable. And they're ultimately, the universe is giving you an opportunity actually, to learn about how your emotions are helping or hindering your stability. So that's a big thing to keep in mind is, okay, how do I feel about my goals, about what my life purpose is, or at least has been thus far? How do I wish to grow? Something that's coming to mind is Saturn is in Capricorn, as it will be for the remaining of this year. And something also that's good to keep in mind is Saturn's been in Capricorn since December 2017. So since then, you've had this really wonderful trine energy between your sun and any other Taurus energies that you might have, and Saturn in Capricorn. Even if you don't have any other Taurus energies, that sun and Saturn trine is really powerful. And so, what does this mean, especially in relation to this Uranus and Taurus energy? It means that for the last couple of years, you've been able to build effectively in your life, and Saturn's been helping you to slowly but surely get higher up in your company, or your skills, or just basically with your profession, being able to continue to develop, to set your sights on a goal and to reach it. I think this month is really going to show you, okay, and it's good to not regret the past, but it is good to check sometimes of, okay, what I've been working on for the last 2 years, has this been truly helping me, or is it time to go on into a new adventure? And I think this month is going to tell you a lot about that. It's good to not necessarily jump ship right away. I don't know, it's so hard to generalize for the different experiences, but what I would say is don't try and change everything overnight. That being said, it is also important to be willing to let go of anything, anyone, any place, any behavior that is not helping you and that is not serving you. And sometimes it does mean doing it overnight, but even then, I think you'll find that it's been a long time coming. So whatever it is that you experience during this time, look for the root, look for the core. What's going on? How are my choices impacting this? What am I feeling about all this? Something that's also coming to mind is Mars goes into Scorpio November 19th. So a little bit later on this month, we also have Mercury retrograde for this month, and it's in Scorpio. So this is actually a wonderful time to, okay, let's focus on the Mercury first. There can be a little bit confusing. It can be a little bit like, wait, do I need to make a change? Wait, is this going, like, what's happening? What's important is to try and verbalize it, try and find words for how you're feeling, what's going on. Again, that's a big theme for this month for you. Just how do you feel? And it can be a little weird because it's like, no, I want to focus on what's practical. Well, what we feel is very practical. It's connected with everything in our lives. And when Mars goes into Scorpio, you're going to be experiencing a lot of energy. So the first part of this month is largely like figuring out how you need to change, or how to stay the same and then just continue to grow. You know, that's still change in a sense, but continuing on that path. And then around just November 19th, that's when Mars is going to say, okay, now here's the energy to make those changes. So it's good to take your time in understanding what changes need to be made, and then especially later in November, making those changes. All right, your card is Queen of Wands. Interesting, very interesting. I think this card is basically just saying, be inspired. Don't just focus on security. Don't just focus on feelings, but also seek to exercise your willpower and to be very definitive and stand up for yourself, and also stand up for yourself, and also let how do I put that into words? Let me see if your animal medicine card. Okay, we'll get to that in a second. Okay. I think the biggest thing is don't get so caught up in feelings, relationships, and whatnot. Look on the positive side. That's it. Look on the positive side and keep seeking to guide your life with confidence, even if things are a little bit shaky or a little bit difficult. Because as with every transit, this phase will pass and it'll all get better. Rabbit is your animal medicine. Interesting. Very interesting. I think the biggest thing that I'm getting from this is, again, it's tricky with that transiting Uranus. The key that I'm picking up is be willing to make very definitive motions and to act very quickly if the time calls for it. Rabbits are very cautious, as I'm sure you've seen. They sense their environment, they observe everything, and they only bolt when it's time to bolt. So I think that's your lesson. All right, Gemini. We have a Mercury retrograde. For those who don't know, I'm also a Gemini. We have Mercury retrograde, which always for us Geminis, and also our sister energy, brother energy, however you want to put it, Sun and Virgo, being also ruled by Mercury. This is a time where we, out of everybody, we are hit by Mercury retrograde a little bit more than other people. I don't think Mercury retrograde is a bad thing. A lot of people get caught up in, oh my gosh, it's not working out. But it's actually a wonderful opportunity to stop and rewind and to be able to close up gaps, to tie up loose ends that we need to resolve before moving forward. So Mercury goes retrograde October 31st, Halloween, until November 20th. And that's largely the biggest thing to focus on, honestly, for November for you. We'll get to that in a second. There's some other stuff, of course. But the biggest thing to focus on is our mind in relation to our emotions. How is my thought process helping or hindering my emotions? And vice versa. How is my emotional patterns, processes helping or hindering my thoughts? This is something that is going to last again until November 20th. So most of this month is going to be focused on, and really, I mean, all of this month, because the shadow period will exist past November 20th. The focus will be on, okay, how do I transform my thought processes? How do I grow? And going into my past, going deep within. This is ultimately something that's present for everybody, but I haven't even mentioned it thus far, and I probably won't mention it for any of the other readings except for maybe Scorpio and maybe Cancer, maybe Virgo. But even so, this is especially for us Geminis a really excellent opportunity, this Mercury retrograde period, to ask ourselves and to go deep into our past and into our conditioning, into the software of our being, and say, okay, what do I need to change? How do I need to transform? Even for things that are going good, how can I make them even better? And seen from a different perspective, our plans, our ideas, they're going to take a little bit longer to manifest. That's okay. We sometimes, again, need some kind of delays to be able to pull reverse during slow motion, and to be able to have a different perspective, to be able to not just be rushing forward all the time and not getting enough sleep and not eating enough and being all jittery because of all that caffeine that we use to get, it's like, okay, sometimes we need to just chill the fuck out. And that's what this Mercury retrograde period is going to largely be doing, because it'll be in Scorpio, and so it'll be forcing us to get deeper and not just focus on the surface. Something that's really fun is we're facing our full sun energy. What that is basically when the transiting sun is opposite our natal sun. So sun goes into Sagittarius November 22nd, Venus goes into Sagittarius November 1st. This is also super fun, especially since it's happening November 1st. So basically all of November. It goes into Capricorn November 25th. But this is really exciting. Whenever Venus is opposite the sun, it can be a lot of fun going to parties, especially with Venus and Sagittarius and us being Geminis, going to parties and enjoying ourselves, learning. Especially that's a big thing, is being around individuals that are both very fun and lively, but also entertaining, yes, but also educational and helping us to grow and to learn. So actually, I think that's a big thing to keep in mind. Is okay, it's great to go out and have fun and enjoy ourselves. That's perfectly fine. But it's also important to expose yourself to individuals who can teach you something during this time. So focusing a little bit too much on just random people that are fun. Honestly, something that's coming up is kind of like one night stands type thing. Not that every Gemini's into that. I'm a Gemini who's not, for example. But it can also be like one night stands in terms of like just conversations or talk or mental communion and whatnot. I think something that's important for most of November for us to keep in mind is to really spend time around individuals that we can get deep into the Mercury retrograde energy, aka being able to talk about really in-depth subjects and not just be around people that are fun but aren't really interested in what's going on deep within ourselves and that don't allow that option to be explored. I think that's the main gist of stuff, except for Mars is in Libra until November 19th. Mars in Libra is a wonderful opportunity for us to be able to communicate with others, to collaborate with others, to figure out how we can work effectively with them. And that's something to make the most of. Interesting. Our energy is Seven of Swords. Okay. I think what this is saying is we're supposed to go deeper into our emotions, not skating past the surface. And if we do skate past the surface, we will experience a lot of difficulty in relation to others because of the Scorpio energy that we're all experiencing. But if, as Geminis, we're skating over the emotions, other people with energies that say water signs, earth signs especially, but even fire signs or other air signs, they will check us and say you've offended me, you're acting. It could be so many different things, honestly. But long story short, no, we should explore that. Offending or not being emotionally available or too scattered, or I think this is a time to slow down and really get deep into our feelings. That's the biggest thing I'm getting from this. And if we do that, then we'll be able to, funny, so I'm in Scorpio energy. We will be able to be a lot more grounded and be able to handle what's going on around us and not just get caught up in our minds and be out of step with what's going on around us and the people that are around us, which of course is something that we never wish to experience as Geminis. And our animal medicine totem is the moth. Interesting. I like this. I think that what that means is because the moth is in the darkness seeking the light. For us Geminis, we are, we're more the butterfly, but sometimes we have to go through dark time periods to be able to get to the light. And for us, for everybody during Scorpio season, that's one of the darkest times of the year. It's not necessarily a bad thing. It can be really good. Darkness also is a safe space. It allows us to be able to go deep within and to rest, to recuperate, to be able to then form a stronger connection to the light when it does emerge. So I think what's important is to, even in the darkness, be searching for the light, but be willing to go into the darkness too. And again, this is the darkness of our psyches, the darkness of the unknown and whatnot. So that is Gemini. All right, Cancer. This is a very overall nourishing time for you. Sun is in Scorpio. It's in another fellow water energy. We have Mars going into Scorpio. That's going to be really helpful. We'll get to that. And actually, let's focus. So much good stuff to focus on. Quick thing before I forget. Mercury will be retrograde from October 31st to November 20th. Let's get into that real quick. Because it'll be retrograde in Scorpio, which is again another water energy, that is going to be fueling your ability to go into your past, which is one of the greatest gifts of being a Cancer. Is you're going to, especially if you have Mercury in Cancer, but even if you don't, to be able to go into your past and your emotions, and to be able to understand them and appreciate them in ways that help your present to be even better, which of course makes your future even better. So if you're really worried about something, if you're really concerned or paranoid or whatever it might be, if just maybe you're really sad. It's not to say that any of this is inevitable, by the way. I'm just saying if you experience that over the course of November, and especially until the November 20th, but even after that, because Mercury's shadow period will still be going on for the rest of November, then it's important to ask yourself, why am I feeling this? And this, what's really cool is, even though that's helpful at any time, especially for November, it's such a wonderful time to be able to go deep and find answers, and to be able to go, oh fuck, this is why. This experience during my adolescence, for example, or in my young childhood, this is that's why I'm afraid now of this particular thing. This is a great time to go deep into the emotions and to be able to emerge from that darkness with a bit of light and understanding and insight into yourself, and into others as well, for sure. But I think the biggest focus of this retrograde period is more so going into your own emotions and understanding them, and being able to bring light to them, and be able to have them empower you and help you to grow. So that's phenomenal. Venus into Capricorn. This is going to be really exciting. This is going to be more so for December, so the next month's video. But Venus goes into Capricorn November 25th. That's really cool. What this means is basically it's going to be opposite your Sun in Cancer. So the last 5-6 days or so of days are in November. It doesn't matter. 5 or 6 days or so of November is going to be a very strong time as per your relationships. A time to be able to solidify your relationships even more so, and to work effectively with those around you, especially in your job, and to experience a lot of goodness in your relationships with others, and a lot of pleasure, for sure. There's also potentially that's the gist of it. Alright. No, we should cover that. No, we shouldn't. Alright, let's move forward. So also something that's really cool is Mars going into Scorpio November 19th. So for 2/3 of this month, you are still going to be experiencing Mars in Libra. This time has been a little bit of a frustration for you. I have a lot of Cancer energy myself. My moon's in Cancer, my rising's around the cusp, and Mars in Libra can be very challenging of trying to figure out how to balance how we feel, especially through the changing lunar cycle, which affects us having so much Cancer energy so powerfully, because the moon moves 13.5 degrees, something like that, a day, which is like 13 times as fast as any other astronomical body. So it can make us very moody, and trying to balance that along with this Mars and Libra energy of, no, let's stay positive, let's work with other people, and let's express let's maybe not express actually certain anger and certain frustration, because we want to be harmonious. And trying to balance that has been difficult, because sometimes we have to just be authentically ourselves, and this is what I'm feeling. I'm actually really angry. This is not cool. And just but also deal with this energy, which is saying, okay, but how do I say that verbally and be able to work with them still, and also let them know how I feel? It's a bit of a juggling act, so it's a bit difficult. But of course, with all tense aspects, there's a lot of good, and it's very helpful. But it is going to be pretty sweet when Mars goes into Scorpio November 19th, and all of a sudden there's going to be all this energy to work with. Mars in Scorpio, again, is another water trine energy to your Sun and Cancer. That's when you're going to hit your stride, and throughout all of December. But again, from basically November 19th on, you're just going to experience that power, and be able, this is how I express myself. Okay, cool. This is my goal. I'm reaching it. Okay, cool. Whereas before, for a lot of October and the first 20, basically until November 19th of November, the focus will be more on, okay, this is what I want to do. Does this work with you? Does this work with you? And again, it can be a little bit challenging, a little bit frustrating. So that's something to look forward to. And again, it's good to not fight Mars and Libra transit. It is very good. It's very helpful. It can help you to understand others and to learn how to work with others very effectively, which is especially good when Mars goes in Scorpio, because then just to make sure you're cognizant of other people's feelings, so that you don't run over them with that energy, because Mars in Scorpio is a very powerful energy for you. Your tarot card is Prince of Discs. Interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. Saturn in Capricorn opposite your Sun in Cancer, any other Cancer energies that you have. Take it slow. You're under a lot of pressure. You're building a lot in your life. I experienced the equivalent of this transit the last couple of years, from like what, December 2015, 2017, something like that. Saturn opposite your sun is difficult, but like every Saturn transit is very helpful long term. Helps you to build, helps you to grow, helps you to stay strong, and to set boundaries and to be disciplined and focused. Know that you will not have this pressure for forever, and it's good that you're experiencing this pressure. It's motivating you. It's helping you to figure out, what is my life purpose, what serves me, what does not serve me, as per my family, as per myself. Really, everything's on the chopping block with Saturn opposite Sun, and it's important to just embrace it and to seek to understand the overall purpose. Maybe I need to set boundaries more effectively with my family. That's a big theme for this particular transit for you. So that's something to keep in mind. And we'll explore this more over the next, because this goes on for almost all of next year, 2020. We'll explore this more as time goes on. And interesting, spider, I love that depiction. Ooh, that is cool. It's so interesting. So dark, but very, very beautiful. I think the biggest thing about your animal medicine new spider for this month is, that's cool, for two different things. One, and it's funny, the school part came up, with all the Scorpio energy, is basically being patient, building your web, building your nest, and knowing that there's a strength in patience, knowing that waiting until the right time to act is infinitely more powerful than losing your minds to hysteria, which is a big challenge for us, having a lot of Cancer energies. Excuse me. We want to make sure that our bases are covered. Spiders' webs are incredibly strong. They might look very flimsy, but they're incredibly strong. And just take your time, build your nest, and build out from there. And whatever you're seeking to do, just bide your time. Keep building as much as you can behind the scenes, and just wait for your moment to shine, wait for your moment to strike. That's the key. Alright, Leo. This is an interesting time for you. Sun in Scorpio is one of those transits, along with Sun in Taurus transit, where the Sun is square your natal Sun, and that's not the most fun transit, but I don't want you to have negative expectations for any transit, really, because there's always things to gain from things as well. So this is the time to learn how to balance you being yourself and having fun and being playful, and also learning how to get deep, and knowing that there can be a lot of fun and a lot of playfulness in that as well, and making sure that you're getting deeply in tune with how you feel, deeply in tune with how other people feel, and recognizing that you don't have to be bright and sunny all the time. Indeed, during November, you can have a lot of fun dressing in black. We have a lot of Scorpio energy going on, and learning how to express yourself and being yourself. It's not to say that you can't be yourself. It's just, it's important to be yourself, but also to connect to your deeper self. I'm gonna pause that real quick. All right, and let's resume. How to be yourself, actually even more so to get to your core. Now, it can be a little bit difficult, especially if you're seeking to be bright and optimistic and buoyant. Not saying that you can't, but that you cannot. But it's important to be sensitive to how other people are feeling during this time, especially since we're experiencing a Mercury retrograde period from Halloween until November 20th, and basically for the rest of November, because the shadow period will be going on, and until probably the first week of December. So this is important to keep in mind, that not everybody's going to want to talk about how beautiful life is and how fun and great it is. Sometimes for everybody during this next month, there's going to be a lot of times of deep reflection, deep introspection, and people aren't necessarily going to want to have a show. And that's important to keep in mind, because even if you're not necessarily a show person by trade, you're a Leo. You naturally like that. It's the sun energy, and it's okay. I have a ton of Leo myself. It's not a negative criticism. It's just we have to check that. We have to check ourselves sometimes and make sure that we're not getting in the trap of expressing ourselves in a situation where it's not really appropriate, and then falling into taking it personally. Like, how could they not applaud and clap? It's like, well, you're singing at a funeral, but you're singing a happy song. You know, it's like that's actually a pretty good metaphor for November, because all this Scorpio energy is very serious and it's very. Now, on the other side, this is a great opportunity to be able to brighten up people's moods, just being your natural self. But it's delicate. You really need to take stock, and this is a good challenge for you. Okay, I know how I feel, but how do other people feel? And being able to balance the two is going to be really helpful and really important during this time. And especially with that Mercury retrograde period, being able to go deep into understanding yourself at even deeper core levels is going to be really helpful, especially your instincts. Like, wow, why did I do that? Why did I say that? What does that mean? That's something that's really helpful during this time. Otherwise, Sun goes into Sagittarius November 22nd, and Venus goes into Sagittarius November 1st, and will be in Sagittarius until the 25th. So this month is going to be a lot of fun. All of this Venus and Sag, even though people can be very focused and serious sometimes, I think something that's going to help a lot is that Venus and Sag is going to be very buoyant, and that is going to add a lot of interest in having fun, being able to explore, being able to learn, just to be able to be ourselves. But again, I think what's probably going to happen is that Venus and Sag energy is, I mean, it's going to be present, of course, during all times, but it's going to focus a lot on certain parties. Like, okay, now is the time. Things are going to be pretty clear. Everybody is in that mood to just to shine and be around each other and socialize and be fun and have fun and whatnot. And then there's times where it's like, okay, people need to just kind of find themselves during that time. So being sensitive, that's going to be really, really helpful. And then Sun goes into Sag, so the last week of November is going to be a wonderful fuel for you, and we'll cover this more with December as Sun continues in Sagittarius. But basically, the last week of November, things are going to lighten up a lot. So that's going to keep in mind too, if you get really caught up in serious stuff for the first 3 weeks of November, that like everything, there's always going to be a phase. And if you do get caught up in serious stuff, to tap into that Venus and Sagittarius energy and just remind yourself, it's okay. It doesn't matter what's going on, doesn't matter how tough or challenging or scary or this or that, as long as I just do my best and seek to face reality and stay positive and upbeat, I'll get through this. And you know what's important to keep in mind during any transit, but especially during a transit like November for you, is if you believe in yourself, you're unstoppable. If you don't believe in yourself, you're going to get stopped at every obstacle. So believe in yourself and know that a positive attitude goes a really far way. And to make sure you get to your destination, you combining that positive attitude with a real sense of, but I'm going to face reality too. Like, okay, this is reality, but this is how I make it better. That's something that can be really helpful. And again, even if things are going really good, this is a good time to get introspective and understand, okay, what have I done? How have I changed and transformed to be able to get to the spot in my life? Your tarot card is Prince of Swords. Interesting. I'm feeling also it's Prince of Discs. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Need some more guidance with that. What does that mean? I think overall, it just means to say, well, let's see, what's your animal medicine? Moth, also. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Because of Mercury being retrograde, this can be a time of overthinking things, especially with Mercury being square your natal sun, your natal, any other Leo energy that you have. And so just making sure that you're taking your time. Oh, that's part of it too. Taking your time to understand what you're thinking and how you're expressing yourself and seeing the effects on other people, that can be really helpful. Slowing everything down a lot, not taking it personally if your communications with other people are offensive or if other people have a reaction to you. Of course, I mean, it's sometimes good to let people know, hey, that was really offensive. But this is a time whenever Mercury retrograde happens where people can trip over their words and say things that they don't really mean, so that's good to keep in mind. And also, Prince of Swords is it's an energy, I think, especially with Prince of Disc, it's telling you to slow down. This is a time with all the Scorpio energy where you can get very passionate. Scorpio and Leo are deeply connected. That's why they can interest each other so much as individuals, because they both are so powerful. They're fixed emotion. Yes, I'm a Leo. Yes, I'm a Scorpio, you know? So when you're experiencing this energy, like all of us, it's a time to get very passionate, very focused, and especially as a Leo, it adds a whole other layer of passion and focus, and that can be a lot. Sometimes, especially with Mercury retrograde, it's best to not act on that passion, just to make sure that everything makes sense, that there's no hidden trapdoors or anything, especially with all this Scorpio energy, to make sure that what you need is truly what you need and not just what you want. That's going to be important to keep in mind. So yeah, just take your time and check everything twice. It's going to be really important. As per moth medicine, it's interesting because that came up for Gemini as well. Being able to understand that in the dark, searching for the light in the dark is one of your prime roles here on Earth, helping to inspire other people, encourage other people, and first and foremost, inspiring and encouraging yourself to be able to then inspire and encourage others. To be able to shine, you have to understand the dark. And it can be difficult because it's really natural for you, coming from the sun energy, Leo is ruled by the sun, to look at space and go, I would never want to go off into the darkness of space. I'm the brilliant sun. And that's a, it's fair to see why somebody might think that. But it's essential to understand space as well, which is typified or symbolized by your partner energy, Aquarius. And partner energies are one of our, we have to learn from our partner energies to be able to find our balance within ourselves. So don't fear the dark, go into the dark. But when you go into the dark, remember to not lose sight of your goal, which is to find the light. Alright, quick bread break. I know I could edit this out, but I think to have a bread break on camera is too funny. Shout out to anybody watching this bread break. This is not cocaine. This is a vapor inhaler. Welcome to behind the scenes for the horoscopes, Reach of the Sun Signs. You will turn forever to eat. Hell yeah, let's do it. Virgo. Okay, Virgo. That's classic, I know, but honestly, the most important thing to focus on is just this Mercury retrograde. As Gemini, the other energy ruled by Mercury, whenever Mercury retrograde happens, it's really like the main thing, like 80% of what to focus on, and of course everything else ties in. But Mercury retrograde will be retrograde from October 31st, Halloween, until November 20th. The shadow period will of course extend into the end of November, probably the first week of December. And I think the biggest thing to focus on for this time period, because it will be in Scorpio, we have Sun in Scorpio during that time. Mars will move into Scorpio November 19th, but the biggest thing is that Sun and that Mercury energy, especially for the first 3 weeks of November, because it won't be until November 22nd the Sun goes into Sagittarius. Interesting. And Mercury will be retrograde until November 20th. Yeah, we have the shadow period after that, but November 20th we'll see us things come together really cohesively as per communication and ideas and cooperation of people being able to understand each other and whatnot. the biggest thing to focus on with Mercury being retrograde in Scorpio for you is reflecting on what your goals are. Excuse me. Reflecting on if your thought processes are helping you to grow or if they're holding you back. The big thing about this time, and really even the entirety of the rest of the next 14 months, as Saturn is in Capricorn and Uranus is in Taurus, there's this wonderful grand trine occurring for you of all this earth energy. And this is a wonderful time to be able to build, again, to set those goals, to be able to proceed with those goals. And it has been for the last, with Saturn and Capricorn, since December 2017. And this is going to keep going on. But especially since Uranus and Taurus has entered the equation, is this a great opportunity for this next month for you to reflect on, okay, what I've been working on so far, do I need to keep working on it? And this really could go for professional stuff. I think in many ways it will have to do with professional stuff, but this also has to go with your relationship to yourself and to your mental health. I think this is a big focus for this next month. Is my mental health supporting and is supported by my emotional health or not? And if it is, great. How do I do that even more so, or what do I need to continue to do? And if not, okay, what changes do I need to make? And for some Virgos, there's going to be some big changes that need to be made because we have Uranus opposite all the Scorpio energy. And because of Mercury retrograde being opposite Uranus and Taurus, also not down to the degree, but still, it's a major factor. So, continuing to learn about yourself. This is a great time to decode your own mental processes. Oh wow, I get nervous in this particular situation, and then I stop breathing. That's definitely something I should not do. I need to keep breathing, and that's going to help me with my anxiety. That's going to be something that's really important. Because, and I think ultimately you're going to experience that is if you're mindful of what you're going through, if you're mindful of how everything interconnects with in your life, as per your thought processes, as per your emotions, as per your behaviors, then, well, let's go, if you're not mindful, it's going to seem really dark, and then you're going to find the solution. That's the biggest key during this time, is just continuing to look for the solution and going, okay, this isn't working. I need more information, and sometimes I'll need that information from the external world. Sometimes I'll need it, and especially during this transit, I'll need it internally. I think like a rough percentage, probably like 65-70% of the information that you'll need during this time is going to come from internal. And it's going to have to do with your past, conditioning. Okay, I'm nervous about this because in childhood I was told I wasn't good enough when I would do this or not do that, stuff like that. And again, whatever it is, whether you feel like you're in the dark or things are actually pretty light, you just want to keep augmenting the light. The key is to find the answers. Go for the answers. And what does this mean? We have to ask good questions. So ask why and how, especially why, for both of those, and seek to understand the what in your life, and that'll help a lot. Your tarot card guidance is worry. How funny. I think the biggest thing with this is just seeking to understand what is, as I said before, funny, and this came up, finding completion, being able to recognize that there's always a solution. There's always a solution for whatever challenge there might be. It doesn't matter how dire things might be. It doesn't mean that everything will be solved overnight or restored to what it was before. Not necessarily. Eventually we gotta die, for example. It's like, hey, what's the solution to not dying? It's like, it's not necessarily a solution of not dying as of yet, but there's a solution if, the positive side is I can make the most of my life because I have a motivation that is very powerful, and there's nothing quite motivating like make the most of this because you're not always going to have it. Oh shit, okay, but that doesn't mean that we need to worry though. Again, that card is telling you to not worry, and it's saying that for anything that you are worried about, find a resolution for it, find a solution. Don't cast yourself as a victim. Find the solution. You own your life. You make the choices that make up your life. And if you have to make different choices, then so be it. There's nothing wrong with that. But face reality. Face what needs to change. As funny, Wizard came up. One of the absolute pinnacles of transformation in animal medicine. And I think a key part of this too is to be flexible, Lizards are able to climb up walls and do all sorts of cool shit. Oh, I have a chameleon right here. Yay! And to be able to act and then chill. Act and then chill. I think that's going to be a big thing for this, is because there can be a lot of energy with all the Scorpio, especially Mercury being retrograde with Scorpio. There will be times where you're just intensely finding information and researching, and again, whether things are you're looking for an answer for something deep within, or you're actually, things are pretty great. You've done a lot of work with self-awareness already in life, and now you're just wanting to be able to accomplish your goals and to learn whatever you need to learn and develop your skills even further. Great. In either case, act and then chill. Remember that it's important to also just chill and absorb the sunlight sometimes, as lizards do. Alright, Libra. I think the first things first, Mars is in Libra. It will be until November 19th. And this is a time, especially at the making of this video with the new moon. Mars is exactly in the middle of Libra, and so it's conjunct your sun. Even if it's not down to the degree, it's still in the region of space as your sun energy. And so regardless of what your sun energy is, as per the exact degree, maybe you're a September Libra, for example, or like October 19th, 20th Libra, you are experiencing this Mars energy strongly of, okay, I gotta get stuff done. Okay, I gotta move forward. This can be really helpful with working with others. It also can be really helpful in being able to understand yourself, and I think especially until November 19th, to understand yourself or understand others, and to recognize that those two things go hand in hand for all of us, but especially for you. That's one of your big life themes. Okay, how do I learn more about myself as I learn more about others? And also, how do I learn more about others as I learn about myself? This is a wonderful opportunity with all the Scorpio energy, especially the Mercury retrograde from October 31st, Halloween, until November 20th. And with the shadow period, it'll last for all of November. This Mercury retrograde in Scorpio is a chance to go deeper and to understand, okay, I have to find the words to be able to communicate with others and let them know what I need from them. And also, I need to be able to learn how to ask questions so I can figure out what they need from me to satisfy this really good partnership, this relationship, whether it's romantic or otherwise, and to be able to mutually benefit. I need to find the words. That's going to be a big theme for you. And it can be difficult. With Mercury retrograde, it's difficult for all of us to be able to find the words exactly. But if you search for it, you will find it. And I think that's one of the most important things during this time, is to not give up, not shut down. Mars and Libra transit can be a little bit challenging for that, for anybody, but especially for you. And the results can be, honestly, a little bit disastrous, because if you don't express your anger, if you don't express what you need, then you'll find yourself being passive-aggressive. You'll have given up, so you'll feel like there's no hope, because honestly, in that situation, there is no hope. If you give up, then what hope do you have? If you surrender, how are you going to win? You know, so that's important to keep in mind, is, okay, I need to keep going. I need to work with this Mars energy and be fueled by it and be empowered by it and just not give up. And recognize that sometimes it can be difficult. Sometimes you can stumble, especially with that Mercury retrograde time period. It's going to be really tricky for all of November to find the exact right words. But when you do, it changes everything. And that's the beauty of it, is this time is a wonderful opportunity to get to the answer, and the answer can be really helpful. Whereas, say if Mercury is retrograde in Sagittarius or in Libra or something, it might not be one answer, it might be several answers, and that's not, I mean, there's a lot of benefits to that too, but it's really nice with Mercury being retrograde in Scorpio, because the ability to get to the core and to just focus and go, okay, this is what I need to focus on, is really powerful. And again, specifically when it comes to your communications and being able to work with others, this is a really great time. I think a key thing is also setting boundaries for other people, especially with Saturn and Capricorn being square, directly square, interesting. Mars in Libra, and also your Sun in Libra. This has been a time period of continuing to grow as an individual and learning, I mean, really since December 2017, since Saturn entered the region of space known as Capricorn, and for the rest of 2020 as well. Saturn does go into Aquarius next summer, or next spring rather. We'll get into that in future videos, but there's a lot to look forward to that for you, having Sun in Libra, and we'll get to that though. But for this next month, the big focus is just continue to diligently work bit by bit to be able to be good with yourself and to be good with others. And it can be challenging, but you can do it. Venus goes into Sagittarius November 1st. This is just going to be helpful to be able to keep communication with others lively. That's something that's really important for you, and it can be really frustrating when with individuals who have a lot of energies that deter communication, that are more internal. As well as during time periods like these where, again, it's a little bit more of an introspective time, Venus and Sagittarius will help to keep the information flowing, which is what you need to be able to understand what's going on with other people, which again helps you to understand yourself and vice versa. Gives you an opportunity. So that's good to keep in mind. Is if you face a deep situation with the courage to face the reality of it and to speak powerful words, that's interesting because powerful words can mean a lot of different things, but speak to the core of it. So even if it's a little tense or awkward or uncomfortable, to be able to just call things out like they are. That's what I mean by powerful words. But you also have this buoyant, optimistic attitude of, I know we can work through this. That can be really helpful. Interesting. Your tarot card is power. A lot of Capricorn energy. I think especially since you've been experiencing Saturn square your sun for the last, almost 2 years, something like that. Is that right? No, well, yeah, no. Wait, yeah. You're already really fortified. You've been working with this energy, and you're very strong. Oh, and I think a key thing of this too is you're coming from your birthday season, and that's really helpful because that's the beginning of a new year for you in many ways. So because Sun is moving on to Scorpio, this is a chance to get deeper into your goals, deeper into, okay, I'm starting from a place of power, especially since Mars has been in Libra for much of Libra season. It's been saying, okay, now's the time to make these changes that I need to make. Before I just couldn't quite get the momentum going, it wasn't quite the right time, but now is the time. And as the month progresses, even though again sometimes it can be a little tricky with being able to communicate or being able to effectively, as I think the key thing is make sure that your mind is focused on the goal that you're seeking to make. And as long as that's the case, you're unstoppable. Regardless of whether other people get in your way or this or that or whatnot. Interesting. I like it. How funny. Very funny. Your animal medicine is lion and also crab. You get 2 for 1. Funny because that's also, Leo and Cancer energy. Nice. I like that. And Leo's ruled by the sun. The Cancer is ruled by the moon. I think what this means is to unite your logical self as well as with your emotions. Be willing to unite, to utilize your mind to analyze your feelings and to learn as much as you can about both, really. What was I going to say? There's something, then that vice versa. To analyze your emotions, right? And then, how do I put this into words? To feel how your thoughts impact you. So if you're giving away too much power to others, again with that potential manifestation with Mars and Libra tempting you to choose. No, I don't want any conflict. I just want to focus on harmony. You do need to experience conflict sometimes in life, and it doesn't mean that you want to go to the other extreme and I'll kill them. It's like whoa, chill. We want to make sure that when we are facing conflicts and handling conflicts, we don't lose control or we don't become wild. We still want to stay calm, and especially with your gifts, being diplomatic and finding a way, a common ground, offering that common ground for the other person. And again, sometimes other people are just going to be unreasonable and irrational, and that you just do the best you can. And if you have a choice, don't be around that person, temporarily or permanently. But I think the animal medicine lesson for you is balance out your mind and your feelings, and if anything that you seek to understand during this month, you will be able to succeed in understanding. Alright, Scorpio, it is your birth month. I mean, unless you're born in late October, but in that case, happy late birthday. But this is a wonderful time for you because it's your birthday, or it was recently your birthday, and there's a lot of Scorpio energy to work with. Mercury is going to be retrograde in Scorpio from Halloween until November 20th. The shadow period will exist into probably the first week of December or so. So Mercury will be retrograde in Scorpio for all of this month. This is kind of an interesting twist on things, especially if your birthday is in the first 20 days of November. You'll be experiencing also Mercury retrograde during your birthday, but this is not necessarily bad. It just means that your focus will be a lot of your past, and how it connects with your present and your future. Scorpio energy, I mean, unless you have Moon in Cancer or something, isn't so much focused on the deep past. That sometimes though can be really helpful and really important to focus on. Okay, what happened in my childhood that's impacting me now? Why do I have these fears now? Why do I have these wants now, as opposed to my needs? But in general, this also could be the recent past of, okay, what do I need to focus on and strive to accomplish during this time to be able to succeed? What do I need to wrap up? What relationships ended on a bad note that I have some kind of control over, and I can send a good message and wrap things up, at least to the best of my ability, whether they accept it or not. That's going to be a big focus during this time. Just really in general, wrapping things up with Mercury being retrograde in your energy. And finding the right words is going to be essential. It's important to, during this time, it can be very tempting to get so wrapped up in your own mind that you find you're not communicating effectively with others. And if you do need a lot of time to mull over, okay, I need to understand what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, that's perfectly fine. But I think something that's really important to keep in mind is to give others a heads up. Hey, I received your message. I'm reflecting. I need to understand what's going on deep within me before I give the response. That's going to be really important. And ultimately, those who deserve to be in your life are going to give you that time and space for you to be able to emotionally come to terms with what's going on, and to be able to say what you need to say. And those who rush you, again, it's wise to keep in mind that such individuals are probably not in your best interest. Mars will be going into Scorpio November 19th, so that's going to be a huge time for you. It's already a powerful November, but it's not every November, not every Scorpio season that Mars goes into Scorpio. So especially for the last 10 days or so, you're going to get this super charge of power, and it's going to be lasting throughout December. We'll explore that in next month as well. This is really exciting. This is a wonderful time of, whenever Mars is conjunct our Sun, it gives us a huge burst of energy. It's going to be important to channel this energy, like with all Mars energy, especially with all this other Scorpio energy going on. It's going to be important for you to work out effectively, to spend time to yourself, and at least in part to recharge your energy, to get stuff done. I think that's a big thing too, is setting your goals and reaching them is going to be a big theme, especially when November 19th comes along. Mars and Scorpio transit is one of those transits that enable you powerfully. It's going to be like a before November and December 2019 and after for you, and you're going to be able to get so much done. But the key is it going to help you to transform and to grow and to evolve, or will it just be, because you're basically going to be given a sword with this time, and it's going to be really nice and really ornate and powerful, and you're like, yeah, fuck yeah. But some Scorpios are going to be like, I'm going to cut this person down. It's like, whoa, not in your best interest. Versus this obstacle, I'm going to cut this obstacle down. That Scorpio is going to be getting far in life, and they'll be able to keep growing. Otherwise, what's going to happen? Cut that person down. But of course, everybody's going to be given a sword of some sort, even though yours is going to be like super powered because you're a Scorpio, and Mars will be in Scorpio. It's other people can still, if you're creating discord and violence, emotionally, mentally, whatever, that is going to visit you. What we reap is what we sow. So that's going to be important to keep in mind, is, again, channeling it all into productive, helpful outlets, making sure it's helping us to grow in life, and making sure that we're very mindful of needs versus wants, staying focused on, okay, especially since Venus is in Sagittarius, not getting too focused on, I just want to use this sword to, it's kind of a weird metaphor, but carve out a lot of fun and playfulness in my life. I just want to, honestly, a big thing with this is I just want to have a bunch of one night stands, or just want to focus on sex or whatever, or anything that's really fun. That's okay. It's okay to have your fun and whatnot, but with this energy, if you're not channeling it towards a higher purpose in life, then at the end of it, you're gonna not have this supercharged sword, this supercharged fuel, and you're also not going to have much to show for it. This is like every transit, it's a time period of, it's good to never freak out about these things and feel like, okay, this is the deadline, I have to figure it all out before then. No, it's not. It's good to not worry, but it's also good to recognize this is not going to last for forever. It's okay to have my fun, but I need to get shit done too. It's one of the most important things to keep in mind. So again, from November 19th on, this is really sweet timing, because with Mercury retrograde between Halloween and November 20th, you can really sort out, okay, what do I want to get done with the rest of the year? And again, figuring out, this is what I need to get done. This is different from wanting to get done. You know, this might be really appealing because it'll get me a lot of attention or a lot of status. It's not really Scorpio goals, but sometimes it can be. Like, but this will get me something that I crave. But it's not what I need. What I need is this. Okay, so when the time does come, when you have that sword manifest in your hand, then you'll be able to say, okay, good, I'm going to get this goal done and that goal done. Something that's helping is Saturn and Capricorn to help you set those goals. So be wise with your power with every transit, but especially during this transit. Yeah. Right, your tarot card is interesting. Six of Swords, very interesting. I think it has to do with the Mercury retrograde time period. If you are seeking to move forward, and that's funny, hello, and the giant sword in your hand, this is one of the greatest cards for being able to move forward, to be able to understand ourselves, and thus enable us, to empower us to move forward. That's the thing. You are going to reach whatever it is that you're seeking during this time. Are you seeking to move forward, or are you seeking to move backwards? If you're seeking to move forward, you will succeed. If consciously or subconsciously you are seeking to move backwards, or you're seeking, probably on the surface, something that seems appealing but actually is moving backwards, again, the biggest thing is the difference between need and want, then that's what you'll achieve. So ask yourself, especially over the first 20 days of November, what is it that I'm shooting for? How do I wish to grow? And is that really what I need? Question yourself mercilessly. Not to the point of like overthinking, but really ask yourself, what is my core desire? Nice. Your animal medicine is hawk. And I think that's the thing, is hawk is very powerful. It goes towards the goal, it succeeds, it's focused, and it's in many ways unstoppable. So, like with everything, what we focus on with our eyes leads us to our prize. And if our eyes are leading us to goals that aren't in our best interest, we're going to reach those goals, and it will not be in our best interest, and vice versa. Alright, let's keep it rolling. Sagittarius. Cool. First things first, the sun goes into Sagittarius November 22nd. So this is the beginning for some Sagittarians of your birth month, and this is a really exciting time. For most Sagittarians, it'll be in December. We'll cover that as time goes on. Another key thing is Jupiter's in Sagittarius for almost the remainder of this year, till December 3rd. So November is basically going to be the last month where Jupiter's in Sagittarius. Like with every transit, this does not mean it's the end of the goodness. It doesn't mean that you have to make them. I mean, it's good to make the most of it, but it doesn't mean that you have to. In many ways, when an astronomical body is conjunct our sun, it's actually the beginning of a cycle. So even though this last year has been a lot of fun, a lot of optimism, a lot of, at least in certain ways, of course, maybe in other ways there are certain challenges to go through and whatnot, but in many ways this last year has been a time of prosperity, of adventure, of insight, of knowledge, of gain for you, and prosperity and opportunities. This is also the beginning of the next 12 years of your life in many ways, since Jupiter works in that cycle. It takes 12 years to go through a person's chart. So this is a good time to just basically this next month, November, is a good time to reflect on how you've grown over the course of this entire year, especially since Mercury will be retrograde from Halloween until November 20th, and the shadow period will extend until the first week of December or so. So a lot of this month is about looking deep within and looking backwards to be able to move forward. It's almost like we're walking backwards and saying, oh, this is where I've been. Oh, or even turning around and going back a little bit just to make sure that we're on the right path. That's like, oh shit, actually I took a right when I should have taken a left. Okay, stuff like that's going to be really important. Especially since transiting Jupiter and Sagittarius can be a very scattered energy, as can Sagittarius energy or Gemini, my energy, the partner energy. We're some of the most scattered individuals in the universe. And there's a lot of good to that too. It's not necessarily a bad thing, even though other people might focus on the bad sometimes. It's good to have so many different interests. It's good to have so much different inspiration, so many different opportunities. But it's going to be really helpful when Jupiter does move on into Capricorn for everybody around the world. As with every transit, when it's time to move on to the next phase, it's time, because if we were to dwell on any particular energy for too long, the wheel wouldn't keep spinning, we wouldn't keep evolving. And so this month has been one of a lot of opportunities, a lot of inspiration, etc. for you, a lot of knowledge gained. But this next year, and starting with December 3rd, is it December 3rd? Something like that. Oh, that's not. Oh, December 2nd. Okay, doesn't matter. Anyways, that's when we'll be able to effectively move forward and be able to make decisions and be able to stay focused on a path. And yes, even us Geminis and you Sagittarians. So this is an excellent opportunity to be able to this for November to reflect and go, okay, this is what my goals were before. This is how I think I'm gonna grow. Again, with this Mercury retrograde, it's good to really question it. Like, okay, does this make sense? Is this what I need? Again, a key thing for this next month is, what do I need versus what do I want? Especially since Venus enters Sagittarius November 1st, that's gonna add a whole other element of whoa, excitement and fun and potentially being scattered. But that's not necessarily being scattered as per mind. Mercury is gonna be, again, retrograde in Scorpio, and it's gonna be in Scorpio all month. So the focus is, okay, let's stay focused. The focus is let's stay focused and go deep. What do I need versus what do I want? And also with that Venus in Sagittarius and the Jupiter in Sag, that most of November is going to be just a lot of fun and a lot of enjoying. It's kind of an interesting dynamic. We have the intensity, serious, need versus want, getting to my core, and then hey, let's have fun. Let's party. Let's play. Let's explore. Let's adventure. So it's good to enjoy both of these, and ultimately to recognize that you're setting yourself up for this whole next year, starting December 2nd, extending until I think it's December 2020, something like that. Well, as Jupiter goes into Capricorn, to be very focused, and especially if you have maybe Mercury in Capricorn or whatever energy that you might have, to be able to set your goals and reach them effectively. So that's this next month is going to set up your next year, which is really phenomenal. And there's no need to freak out about it, but it is important to recognize, okay, this is time to get serious. What do I need? And I need to stay focused on that. Your card is Truce, Jupiter in Libra. This is a nice card. It just means that everything in general is going pretty smoothly for you. As opposed to, say, between 2015 and 2017 when Saturn was in Sagittarius. That was an intense energy for you and for myself and all these other Geminis in the world, because Saturn transits are tough, but you were built during that time. You developed and you formed even further, and that's really excellent. And during this time, you've been enjoying this last year growth, and where you faced stress and pressure between 2015 and 2017. For much of 2019 and the last little tidbit of 2018, since November 8th, 2018, as Jupiter entered Sag, this has been a time period of hope and optimism and growth and excitement and opportunities. And so it's good to just enjoy this time, and also to seek to be ready. As funny, this is a Jupiter card too. to seek to be ready to move on to the next time, and to do so gracefully and to do so with focus. A lot of Sagittarians are going to recognize, holy shit, I've totally burnt through this last year of opportunity, so this is your opportunity for November. Okay, make the most of what's there and invest, plant those seeds in your long term. Yeah. And of course, some Sagittarians are still going to just burn through it all if they're not aware, being that Venus is in Sagittarius too. So again, it's good to have your fun, but it's important to make sure that you're staying stable and grounded, and you're looking at your long term, and you're looking at your needs as well as your wants. Interesting. Your animal medicine card is woodpecker. Diligence, staying focused. Interesting. And balance of action and grounding. When the woodpecker is doing their thing, they're very stable. They're not flying around or anything, as far as I know. They're just grasping onto the tree and they're doing their thing. So I think that's the importance, is to be ready to do great action, but to also be stable in your intent and your motivation and in your focus. And one last thing, just take each day at a time. Alright, Capricorn. So the biggest thing to focus on, or one of the biggest things, is transiting Saturn being in Cap. That energy is a very heavy energy. It's helping you to grow. As you know, being a child of Saturn rules Capricorn. The only way to achieve incredible goals, to master incredible skills, to be able to be excellent, is to work hard over a long period of time. And this is the time period, and basically for all of this next year, almost all of this next year, Saturn will go on into Aquarius from March 21st to June 30th. But this transit that's existed since December 2017 until March 21st, and again for the last part of this next year from June 30th until, I can't remember the exact date that it moves on into Aquarius, but it's at the end of the year basically. So you're basically looking at the rest of this year and most of next year. In 2021 is when Saturn will move on to the next energy. That will mean that it's largely in 2021, with a little bit of respite this next spring, that the pressure will lift off of you. And if you have Mercury in Aquarius or even Venus in Aquarius, yeah, you'll experience some pressure there, but overall, Saturn interacting with the Sun is a much more pressurized environment. But it's good to experience this, whether Saturn is conjunct your Sun or it's opposite your Sun, like I experienced between 2015 and 2017. It's an excellent opportunity to build yourself and to develop in ways that you couldn't before, because Saturn just wasn't in that energy to be able to set goals effectively and to move forward. Saturn in Capricorn is an incredible energy, and most Capricorns actually don't have that energy, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with any Saturn energy that person has. There's always gifts and challenges to each. But transiting Saturn in Capricorn, for all of us, but especially for you Capricorns, has been really incredible to be able to set goals professionally and practically, and to continue to strive for them until you succeed. And I think really nobody has made the most of this, or is in a position to make the most of this, like a fellow Capricorn. I don't know why I said fellow, I'm not a Capricorn, but in any case, like a Capricorn, I guess fellow from Saturn and Cap, whatever. Anyways, so that's a big focus. That's more of a long-term focus, and especially with the short term of what's going on for this next month. Venus will go into Capricorn November 25th. That's really exciting. We'll cover that more in next month's horoscope. But something to look forward to for December and even that last 6 days or so of November is being able to experience a lot of goodness as per your profession. That's a great time to get a promotion. It's or to check yourself and to recognize, shit, I need to be a little bit more disciplined. I need to stay focused a little bit more, or a lot more. And those lessons are going to come to you, or that goodness and that prosperity is going to come to you through your interactions with others. So it's good to prepare for that as much as possible. No need to be concerned or worried, but as always with every transit, there's no need to be concerned or worried. But as always with also every transit, we need to be doing our best and stay focused. and be making the most of the opportunity in front of us. Not out of fear, not out of anything other than just, hey, why not? Let's enjoy ourselves. Let's be as productive as healthily possible and reach our goals and keep moving forward and keep growing and see what we can do out of these lives. So that's there. Mercury will be retrograde between the 31st and November 20th. Communication could be a little bit difficult for everybody around the world. It's retrograde in Scorpio too, Mercury is. So that energy is very internal, very introverted. I think it's really important for you to make sure that you don't get caught up in any kind of negative spiral of thinking. Sometimes Capricorn can do that, especially if you have Mercury in Capricorn. Just making sure that you're not looking just at the negatives or what needs to be improved or what needs to change, but also look at what's right and what's working and what's good. That's going to be really important during this time. And something that's also really helpful with this particular transit is November can be a great month for you to be able to reach answers, to be able to understand at a deeper level both who you are, your others that you work with, business partners, family members, and to seek to be able to have very meaningful conversations that get to the point and help make things more clear, to help make goals more clear, and to make sure that everybody's working on the same page for the same direction. It can be really helpful. All right, your tarot card of guidance and inspiration. Interesting. So we actually have a Sun in Scorpio card, which is really interesting. We have, I think basically, it's good to enjoy yourself over this next month, and especially as November 19th rolls around, as Mars moves into Scorpio, to be very empowered and to move forward with your goals, and to diligently stay focused on those goals, and to be willing to continue to transform yourself, to be able to channel even more energy effectively in your life. That's a big theme. And we also have this ruin, fascinating. Sun in Gemini. I don't appreciate that, the Sun in Gemini, but whatever. I don't take it personally. It's understandable from certain ways too. The other thing that's being counseled is don't. If you do find any negativity, this isn't working. Actually, this plan isn't working. This project isn't working. This partnership isn't working. Whatever it might be. Recognize that happens for all of us. We reach certain points when we realize, shit, I was hoping this would happen. I was hoping this wouldn't happen. I was hoping this would be a fruitful connection. It's not working. I gave it a shot, and it turns out that it wasn't I wouldn't even say it's not necessarily the right shot. It's just sometimes that is the case, but a lot of the time it's just we wanted to see what could happen, and things happened, and then we realized, okay, from here I need to make different choices. This actually is not serving me. Okay, I accept this, and to move on from there. And if you do that and don't get caught up in, oh, how did I not see this coming, or oh my goodness, this is so bad, don't get caught up in that stuff. Ultimately, we all have to try things in life, and if we find that this doesn't work, we stop, go back, and we try a different path. And that's something that's really important to keep in mind for November. And if things are going good for you, it's not to say that something is definitely not going to work for you, but I think this is a really powerful time to, even if things are good, how to see they can be even better, and to not get caught up in that perceived lack, and just recognize, okay, this is how it can get better, and this is how I'll make sure it gets better. Interesting. Spider came up for you, same as it did for Cancer, which is your partner energy. And I think that's all about that transiting Saturn energy. I think basically what this means is stay focused. Spiderwebs are extremely strong. Keep working bit by bit. Spiderwebs are geometrical. Have your plan. Stick to your plan if it's working. Stay patient. Keep at it. There's always good that comes from productive labor. Even if the project doesn't end up working out, you are still benefiting from that discipline that you put forth, that work. You've learned things, your skills have gotten better, and you've also learned things as per, okay, maybe I don't trust that kind of person in the future. It doesn't seem like it'll work out with somebody, not that generalized is like that, but you do learn a lot about who's good for you and who's not good for you. with such experiences. So that's good to keep in mind too. And otherwise, be willing to simplify your life. Recognize that you don't need spider webs all over the place. You don't need to have a million projects and whatnot. You have one home life. Maybe you have multiple professions, but ultimately there's a limit, and just doing your best and striving for excellence is enough. It's more than enough. And continuing to have that high standard for yourself is going to bring good things to you, and also in many ways that is the source of good things. Because by devoting yourself to a life purpose that challenges you, that you really love, you experience that joy of growth that's meaningful and fulfilling your potential. And when you succeed, it's all the better. But the journey even up until that point of success is worth it in and of itself. Oh, right, Aquarius. So we have Mercury retrograde going on from Halloween, October 31st, until November 20th. And this is a really excellent time, because Mercury will be retrograde in Scorpio, to go deep into your understanding of psychology of both yourself and others. And to understand what's really going on at the core of people, so you can better predict their actions, you can better work with them, you can understand, especially with transiting Mars in Libra until November 19th, how to balance yourself and their selves, your needs and their needs, what you need to say and what others need to say. This is a really excellent time to be able to pause or to slow things down and to communicate what needs to be communicated. And you'll find that if we didn't have this time, a lot of confusion would occur, a lot of miscommunication, and a lot of not understanding where other people are. So even though it can be frustrating, this is a really helpful month for being able to make sure everybody's truly on the same page, and to be able to make sure that communication is very meaningful and very helpful and very practical. Practical in the sense of being able to align everybody's goals together, and to understand where other people are coming from very clearly. Something that's very helpful. Otherwise, we have so from a kind of macrocosmic view, Saturn will go on into Aquarius March 21st until June 30th, and then we'll be experiencing Saturn Aquarius from 2021 until about mid-2023. And of course, we'll get into that in the future. But this is a time to look forward to, because this is going to be building you tremendously. It's going to be developing you tremendously. As you've seen with any Capricorn friends or loved ones over the last 2 years, Saturn being conjunct your sun is a major transit, especially as a child of Saturn. Saturn rules both Saturn rules both Aquarius and Capricorn. This is a time to this transit that you'll be experiencing a little bit over this next year, and then especially between 2021 and mid-2023, is going to be an excellent time to be able to understand yourself, not even so much understanding yourself, but rather to push yourself and understanding your life purpose more, and to be guided by discipline, slow but sure action, to be able to accomplish incredible developments for both you as an individual and for your contribution to society as well, taking your skills to a whole other level. Even if you're at a place of mastery, you're ready to go on to that next degree of mastery, and also to get your act together in certain ways, if you haven't gotten your act together. Now, this does not mean that we should be postponing this. Indeed, I say all of that to say that November is an incredible month to be able to understand yourself to a much deeper degree, and to make any changes that are necessary, especially since one of your ruling planets, along with Saturn and Uranus, is in Taurus, and it's going to be opposite all the Scorpio energy. In fact, at the making of this video with the new moon, is exactly opposite the sun. Wow, exactly. I was almost down to the minute, actually. That's incredible. Anyways, what this means is you can change yourself completely if you unite your emotions with your mind, with your body, with your practical senses, And the potential of this is really vast. To be able to get back on track, to be able to take your track to the whole other level. It's hard to generalize because Aquarians, like Geminis and Scorpios, can tend to go to rather pretty big extremes. So I mean, on one hand we have the Aquarians that are really struggling in life, and then the Aquarians that are just phenomenally getting it. And either way, it's essential to ask yourself, okay, what do I need versus what do I want? What is my life purpose? What do I want to contribute before I die? What do I have to offer? These are the kind of things that are good to focus on, and to ask ourselves, okay, how do I contribute to that whole other level? And November is a great opportunity to be able to get answers for those questions. It's important to ask questions during any time, but especially during this time, it's going to be really helpful. And something else that's going on is, one last thing about that, is be willing to let go of anything, anyone, any place that's not serving your highest interest, and be willing to evolve and to grow during this time, and let the universe guide you, let your inner self guide you, let your emotions guide you. And when the time is right, that's when you act. Don't be too erratic during this time, even though it can feel like, okay, I'm going to change everything. Well, let's take it one day at a time. Like every major positive change, it takes time to implement it and to make sure that it's steady and going in the right direction. Something else that's going on is Mars is in Libra until November 19th. Mars going into Scorpio can be really helpful too, can be a big motivator to push yourself and to keep growing. But it can be a little bit difficult too. It can be a little stressful because it's tense for your Sun in Aquarius and any other energies, Mercury or Venus or whatnot, that you have in Aquarius. But ultimately, it's a good tension. It's pushing you. It's helping you to get more into your instincts, into your... Ultimately, we all have all of the different energies, and we're meant to learn from all these different energies. So that Mars and Scorpio transit from November 19th through basically the end of the year is pushing you to get more focused and diligent and going, okay, I'm going to go for this. And it's okay that I have these instincts. It's okay that I'm tapping into my primal energies. As long as I'm not hurting anyone, then I'm on the right path. Good. And until then, with Mars in Libra, until November 19th, the focus is going to be on, okay, how do I work with others? How do I balance my needs and others' needs? How do I find ways to collaborate, to cooperate, that is ultimately good for both of us? And how do I express my anger in a healthy way? That's going to be really important too, because with Aquarius energy, it can be very intellectual and abstract, and Mars in Libra as well, and it can be very tempting to just rationalize anger, but you're going to have to express that anger. It doesn't mean that you lose control. It doesn't mean that you become violent. We don't want to lose control or become violent mentally, emotionally, physically, in any kind of way. What's essential is just recognizing, okay, I'm angry, and being able to communicate that in an effective way. Saying, hey, that really upset me. I wish you wouldn't say or do that, stuff like that. That's a key theme here. And also separating yourself from individuals that are not good for you, that take away your self-esteem or your power in any kind of, whether conscious or subconscious or direct or indirect way. It's going to be really important. And something that's cool is when Mars goes into Scorpio November 19th, that'll give you that push to go, okay, I gotta face this. Not saying that you shouldn't face it before then, but especially since Mercury will be retrograde, there is going to be some Aquarians who experience, I'm not quite sure, is this what's going on? Is that what's going on? Okay, I need to try and make a reconciliation with this person, try and find common ground, maybe it will work out. And I think by November 19th, 20th, that's when you'll see, okay, oh great, it worked out. Okay, cool, I'm glad I went for it and tried it. And in other cases, damn, okay, it didn't work out, but it's okay. I needed to take my time, and now I'm willing to make the changes necessary to do whatever I have to do to be in a more healthy environment, whether it's at work or in my personal life or whatnot. All right. Pisces. So where to begin? This is one of those transits that are going to be largely pretty smooth for you. You're going to be able to swim and flow right through it with transiting Sun in Scorpio. And Mars goes into Scorpio November 19th. So this last Mars cycle has been a little bit difficult with Mars in Libra. It's a bit more of a, it can be really touchy. It can be a little bit difficult of, okay, what is my motivation? Like, wait, how am I moving forward? Wait, how do I communicate with this person? Um, when Mars goes into Scorpio on November 19th, it's going to be a lot more helpful to be able to stay focused on your goals and go, okay, this is what I'm going for. This is what I need to get done. Awesome. It's going to be very powerful, in fact. So it's good between here and November 19th, since Mercury will be retrograde from October 31st until November 20th, to really get deep into your emotions and understand, okay, what do I need versus what do I want? And who am I not? That's a big thing to focus on. And a big focus will be exploring this internally, and then about maybe like 35% is going to be focusing on exploring it externally, communicating with others. I don't know, those percentages is hard to say because Mars is in Libra for much of this month, and that energy is all about cooperating and collaborating with others. So there will be an element of, okay, I need to learn how to communicate with others during this particular time, and it can be a little bit tricky sometimes. But the key really is to go into, okay, how do I get in tune with myself? Where am I coming from? That's one of the, that's going to be a really good guiding focus. But again, part of it also is, okay, but where are others coming from? And that balance is going to be the key to be able to effectively communicate with others and be in a good spot with others, and to keep moving forward in your life, really, in general. This is a wonderful month for introspection. It's actually one of the best months all year for introspection for everybody, but especially for you. And you're going to be able to get to the root understanding of things that are a little bit confusing or a little vague in ways that you wouldn't be able to experience. Really, actually, I think all year this is an incredible opportunity for you, or for anybody, but especially for you, since transiting Neptune's in Pisces too, so it's conjunct your Sun. Even if it's not directly down to the degree conjunct your Sun, it's still there. And with your Mercury, with this transiting Mercury in Scorpio retrograde energy, it's such an incredible time to be able to ask questions and to get the answers. And it can take a little bit of time. Again, we're looking at a Mercury retrograde period of about 3 weeks, something like that, from Halloween until November 20th. The shadow period will exist until the first week of December. So there's still this, for all of November, there's this sense of what's really going on, what's the truth. And if you ask the right questions, you will get your answers. I mean, you're going to get your answers regardless of whatever questions you ask. But that's the thing. Ask the right questions, you can get incredible answers. And I think some of the biggest things are, who am I? What's my purpose? What can I accomplish? What can I do? And asking these things with a sense of positivity, not negativity, is going to be really helpful to be able to come to eureka moments of, oh, that's what I can do. Oh, cool. I have this gift. Oh, wow. And in relation to others on a more interpersonal level, being able to communicate and to tell the truth, and to be able to see when others aren't necessarily telling the truth, or maybe subconsciously don't even know what the truth is, this is going to be a really powerful time for that too. This is a great time to heal for everybody around the world, but especially for you to heal and to be able to understand their emotions at a much deeper level and to appreciate them. So making sure that you spend time, again, I know there's that theme of spending time with others, but it's important to also spend time on your own, to be able to reflect and to be able to dwell on a question at length and to let the answer come to you. That's a huge theme for this time. And the ability to change and transform drastically, exponentially, is great, considering Uranus is in Taurus, opposite all of this Scorpio energy. So be willing to ask tough questions. Be open to whatever answers you receive from your subconscious and from the universe. Seek to keep growing. And if you find yourself going in a downward spiral, ask yourself, what is it that I keep choosing and keep saying and keep doing that keeps leading me to this place? And what can I do to do the opposite of that? That's going to be extremely helpful during this time. All right, and that is the horoscope for November 2019. I hope you enjoy. As always, I offer readings. I'm kind of in between websites right now. I'm switching over formats for a new service I'm going to be offering, an automatic natal reading service. I'm 70,000 words deep right now. It's going to take me probably another month and a half or so, something like that, to be able to complete it totally. But I am offering pre-orders, and I am focusing on the energies of those who pre-ordered, so they're going to get it before that time. So if you're interested in that or any other kind of reading that I offer all kinds of readings, from life purpose readings to relationship readings to natal readings, understanding ourselves better, whatever it might be. I offer all sorts of things. And if you have any questions, of course, I welcome those with readings, or if you feel like you need to share life info for you to be able to get a good reading, I welcome that too. And I'd be happy to read for you. So again, I'm in between websites, but the website that I'm using temporarily is in the About section, and you'll be able to see the list. I know it's not super pretty, I apologize, but you'll be able to see the list of what I offer. And feel free to email me at my email. It's on that list, or it's williamharrison@live.com to be able to schedule your reading. And feel free to ask any questions that you might have too. Infinite love to you, my friend. Namaste.